Alright, Pokemon fans, let's be real here. Pokemon High Key was our first introduction, at least when it came to anime, of fantasy slavery. No matter how the anime tries to twist it that these wild animals love to battle, that they don't miss freedom, they want to be stronger, it's all there because when it's a kid's cartoon, they want to market it to kids in a video game, and so they want to sell. Because this isn't a world of Pokemon where you could obtain the tame versions of these wild Pokemon like you do in real life, where we have dogs, there's wolves, where there's house cats, there's lions and pumas. Pikachu and the 150 and the other Pokemon that come afterwards, they're wild, beaten to submission, captured, and like Stockholm Syndrome into loving their trainer. Sure, there may be times where they don't listen to the trainer, but there's never been an instance where a Pokemon has run off and gone captured by a different trainer and it turns out this was a runaway Pokemon. Like, these are the same people that probably watch Shield Hero, see the little mink, fox, whatever that character was, slave that he gets from like the circus market, and try to justify it by saying, well, she rebranded herself as a slave willingly after falling in love with their trainer because, you know, they bought them as a child. And so let's ignore the whole Stockholm Syndrome and how that works. This character isn't a slave because she willingly went back to her slave master because he treated her nicely, the happy slave thing. That's what these people are trying to push with Pokemon, that it's the happy slave myth. And as you can see, I'm a fan of Pokemon, and yet I'm willing to point out like the flaws of like the Pokemon world when it comes to that logic of capturing wild Pokemon, beating them to submission, and like, oh yeah, they're family now because they obey my orders. Sure, there may have been exceptions in the show where wild Pokemon willingly, without needing to battle, wanted to stay with a person, but not even Pikachu falls into that category. Like, as wild as an untamed Pikachu was, the moment Pikachu was let out of that Pokeball, it could have jet. There's literally no explanation as to why even Pikachu stayed. Like, episode 1, once outside of the Pokeball, when it had the capabilities of defending itself, was at full health and could basically outrun any person. Like, heck, we even got tamed animals that will just jet the moment they see the door open. And so you're telling me there's never been an instance where a Pokemon captured has just run off into freedom once they've recovered and healed. Also, when you fight in the game and the Pokemon fainted, they die. Because what does fainting mean? Oh, they're just knocked out. So why is it that the option to capture the Pokemon when it's fainted isn't there? It's because it's dead. Again, this is a kid's video game. They're not going to use words like, oh, you killed the Pokemon has been beaten dead. No, they're going to use words like fainted or defeated. But our little kid brains aren't going to think, at least some of us that understood what fainting means, can't understand, like, if a Pokemon has fainted and it's not dead, why can I still not capture it? It's because that Pokemon was meant to be dead. There's no point on capturing a dead Pokemon. It's like the context is all there for us adults to understand what these meanings and these actions mean in a kid's game that a kid wouldn't immediately pick up. So yes, Pokemon are enslaved. When you battle them to the end of their life points, they're dead. So I don't know if Pokemon the TV show have retconned some things, but Charmander was abandoned. The whole reason why he even was stuck on that rock was because his abusive trainer that didn't want him anymore, but Charmander wouldn't leave, even when releasing him, said to stay on this rock, I'll be right back. And that's what Charmander did, stayed on that rock, and it took major convincing for him to finally move on from the owner. So Charmander is not an example of this. He willingly stayed with his trainer to the point where the trainer was so frustrated that he had to lie about coming back in order to leave him. It seems to be more of the rule that Pokemon will willingly stay with their abusive trainers than simply taking off. That any of their wild instincts, once caught, are just now gone, and that even abuse wouldn't let them even go back into the wild again. And again, these are wild Pokemon. These are not domesticated Pokemon. These are literally wild animals caught from the wild and then expected to listen to their owner. It's like the equivalent of capturing a wild skunk and then once you've brought it back home, expecting the skunk to suddenly like no sit and stay and roll over.
The bamboo earrings, baby.